Record. Okay, so Mishlei. Pav Gimel. Kavod la'ish sheves meiriv v'chol evil yisgala. With an iron. That's what I was trying to emphasize.
Honor is
Emphasize. What?
Honor is to a man who rests from conflict.
Okay. Honor to a man who. So let's say rests is one. You have another way to say it. Abstains. Yeah, I'd be inclined to say abstains, but I think either one could be fine from conflict.
Every fool will be revealed.
Every fool will be revealed. Yeah, so we're gonna, I guess, go with the Matsuda ציון there, who says Yiskala with an ayin is Kamo Yiskala with a hey. So he will be revealed or exposed. I think this is what we said last time. This was also that, where else this word came up. Yeah, this is in the second pasuk, or the first pasuk in the parak that we did, but we didn't do it until later on. Yeah. Okay, that's Matsuda ציון. And then what was that? That was also with an ayin, I think. Yeah. And then Sadigon says Yiskala is Yisgaleya Bo Beriv. Let me just see if there's more on that Sadigon there.
Oh, the footnote.
Yeah. Yalag is Yikais Beomko V'Yishkabo. He will be sunken into. That's interesting. So Sadigon says,
He'll be sunken into conflict.
yeah, he will be sunken into conflict. Hello. Here you go. Into conflict. Okay. And Targum, I think, is I think now that okay. So this is a speculation here. Targum says Yakarahu Lagavra Diyasev Delodina. It is glorious to a person, or it's a glory of a person to sit without quarrel or conflict. V'chol deshate, and every fool meets today. Now, if that comes from Tzad, I tried to look this word up. I didn't know how to look it up. If it comes from like will be trapped or ensnared, then that seems like Sadigon. He'll be like something into. I don't know. It's too speculative for me. Okay, so Zach, the only thing you missed was us translating it, which is Kavod la'ish sheves meiriv. It is honor to a man to rest or abstain from conflict. And then, and by conflict, it doesn't mean like inner conflict. It means like quarrel. I think quarrel is probably better.
Mr. might be inner conflict.
Yes, that's true. Let's not jump there. Ask that part of you to stand aside. Before evil yisgala, and every fool will be revealed / exposed. That's one interpretation, and then the other one is sunken into the conflict. Okay, let's look at the English translations. Our scroll says abstention from quarrel is man's honor, but every foolish one reveals himself, and then brackets in it. Living Law says it is honorable for man to desist from controversy, but every fool is exposed. And then Alter says it honors a man to sit back from a quarrel, but any dolt will jump right in. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Because the in. Yeah. I don't know where he's getting I don't know what the gala is from, and dolt is a funny word for an reveal. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to delete those English ones. We need them. Actually, we need to do better than that. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think dolt's actually not a good word.
The reason we were discussing last night. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like he's just lacking intelligence.
Yeah.
It reveals the character of his position.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the questions here?
What is resting from conflict?
Yeah. Well, let's do the definition question first. What is Riv? What is the conflict or the Riv here? Okay. What does it mean to sheves mi Riv?
What is kavod?
What is kavod in the conflict?
You could be like, after you like get out of the box, you mean like take a nap.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's foolish.
Yeah.
What does it mean that a veil is revealed?
Yeah.
Or is
what does does yisgala mean? And also, I'm going to put this as part of the same question. How is this a negative thing? Or how is this a consequence, I guess?
Mhm.
Is this, yeah, right.
What is an reveal?
What is an reveal in this context?
What is the cover?
Yeah, what is the cover? Oh, we said that already, yeah.
Oh,
Interesting contrast between the pool and the man, meaning like normally.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
pool and cup.
Yeah, okay, so what is the relationship between the two parts of the pasuk, especially considering the fact that ish is general, but avil is specific. Yeah.
There's also doesn't seem to be a equivalent for honor in the second half.
Oh, yes, also, right. Okay, what is the corresponding oh, I was gonna say that wasn't even tactile, except maybe to your eardrum. Yeah, that's a pleasant alarm.
Yeah.
What's that tone called? Wait, what kind of phone is that? Is that a
That's fine.
iPhone? Okay, that's probably why I don't have it. Yeah. Also, what's
Not living anymore.
yeah, yeah. What is the this is a kind of minor question. What's the emphasis of coal?
yeah, I was gonna ask that actually.
All right. What is is coal emphasized? I mean, because and the reason I'm asking that is like, you know, most Mishlei pasukim are talking about in general, you know. So if it said coal in general, or sorry, even if something said coal, it means like generally speaking. It's like, why do you need to say it, you know? And if it's saying coal, does that mean like every case? Doesn't usually be true. You know, I'll say, is this true? The Adler method, yes. Asking if things are true. Yeah. Oh, funny thing, by the way, you don't.
Right.
Yeah. You don't. I found out how the Masorah of Adler came to yeshiva.
Really?
So what happened was, so you guys probably don't know either Yehuda Rappaport or Rabbi Maruf. Rabbi Rappaport or Rabbi Maruf, yeah. So Rabbi Maruf is making Aliyah, and he had to get rid of a ton of his books, you know. And so he took a picture of like what he kept. And the funny thing is he took pictures of each of his shelves, you know. The top shelf of his is almost exactly the same as the top shelf of my Adler shelf in my apartment, you know. So it turns out he and Yehuda were the start of the bringing it into yeshiva, and then it trickled from there. Because it came to me from Yehuda, and then it came to Yehuda from him. But yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Now we'll be the start, and then people will talk.
Yeah. They will tell stories. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think those are the questions, right? Okay. Let's figure it out.
So, if we take the revealed interpretation,
Yeah.
then you could say there's the opposites are getting covered versus being like exposed.
Okay, good. So that's a good, I think that's a good approach, right? So the exposure, the unstated thing of the exposure is exposure that has shame of some sort associated to it, or opposite of covered, whatever you want to, degradation, whatever you want to say the opposite is. Yeah.
What were the translations for exposed?
Exposed revealed is one.
Mhm.
And then he will be sunken into conflict is the other. You know, I want to check on Al Torah and see what the etymology of that, or what it says about that. Will be sunken into. All right, let's see, Al Torah. Oops, no, MG. Ksubim, Mishlei. What are we at? 20, right? 23. Yisgalah. Expose, lay bare. Disclose, make known. Disclose oneself, break out, burst out, show the teeth. Oh, it's derived from show to the teeth. Yeah, whatever. All right. Anyway, so no one says what Sadigon says.
Right, because when you say you gotta show your teeth.
Yeah, I guess so. You're exposing your teeth. Yeah.
armchair analogy.
Yeah. All right.
Wasn't very good.
Okay, so we got that first step. I think that's
Jumping right into context.
that's a solid first step.
Armchair judging my head.
But you ask if this is particular type of person, or is it different
For you mean for each?
for each?
Yeah. We did say why does it say ish, but yeah, let's ask that. That's fine. Yeah. What who is the ish?
Yeah, I guess relatedly with the audience, it seems. I mean, I guess I'd say it seems that the audience is the each who could be Shevis Miri.
Right. Or yeah. The person who I guess is faced with the decision whether to be Shevis Miriv or to not be Shevis Miriv. Yeah. See, this feels too simple. That's why I'm suspicious. Yeah.
So I wonder if he's talking about I feel like the audience is the regular person, and he's talking to us in the sense of saying like, here's a area where you might be misled if you're not thinking about things clearly, and that is when conflict arises. And there's like a tendency for a man to think that if he doesn't engage, he's trampling on his honor. So it's like, for my honor, I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah.
You know, and he's basically correcting that assumption. He's like, you might have this false assessment in your head that like to defend your honor, you now need to argue with everybody that is like coming at you.
Yeah.
But he's saying like actually in like on a social construct level, it's the opposite. Meaning like the honor you're going to gain is by not engaging, not by defending your honor every time it's attacked.
Yeah. You know what this reminds me of? The king from yesterday's pasuk, right? That was the king's mistake. Is he thought that if he vents his wrath, then that'll make people respect him more, you know, and really he's showing the underbelly, the human underbelly, you know. Yeah. So, but I think that's definitely the emotion that this is addressing. Yeah.
Just pulling Rabbeinu Yonah.
I've been influenced. Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess I'd say like first on top. I mean, is that when let's say someone's like degrading you in some way. Let's say I don't know if it's necessarily limited to this case, but if a person is like trying to get like putting you down in some way, if you like refuse to engage with him, so doing so feels very like you're acknowledging he's right or something, but really people see that like if you engage then you're giving validation to his like to his mockery, whereas if you just don't, it's like, oh, that guy's trying just being like trying to get a rise out of this guy, but he was, you know, he's above he's not gonna like stoop to his level.
Right. Yeah. So that's I guess the underlying assumption here is or one of the underlying assumptions is that people admire when someone doesn't give in, you know, when someone doesn't stoop to someone else's level. So let's just let's just try to see what the Havmina is a little bit clearer here. So like like Zach saying, like you think you're going to defend your honor by jumping in. So what is that is that a distorted notion of what your honor is? Is that a distorted notion of how to preserve it? Is that a distorted notion of like how they're going to react? You know, and then like the maskana is that what people really honor is when you can rise above the.
So I think it has to do with the view of someone's like almost like free will and like their autonomy as a person, because maybe that answers why he throws in the word every, meaning we know that like if a fool has no choice, they're jumping in. Like the moment their honor is offended, like they're there. And like
hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. So like on a social level, like we're aware that like there's like a switch that like a fool has, and like there's no chance that they're not going to defend their honor.
Yeah.
So like when you see a regular person doing it, it kind of makes you see them in that same light. You're saying like now this person is like being controlled by like every like butterfly offense that like comes his way. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he like gets all mad. So it's like it's sort of saying like it's taking away his autonomy as a person, and like that's I guess what he might be equating honor to. Is like,
Yeah, right. And are you also saying, or am I just like extrapolating that that's why it's just person or like man? I don't know.
you might be extrapolating. What do you mean in the?
Meaning, hold on here. I had a thought. What would like ish? Yeah,
It applies to every man.
it does. But I think I was trying to say that like you are. Well, I don't know if this is too descriptive, but like I think maybe something that you said about the free will thing, like to really be a man is to have this autonomy and this free will, you know, and it's honor that's like human honor, you know, that's like honor that is befitting of a member of that species, you know,
Yeah.
and like you lose that when you
I like that,
when you
yeah.
are manipulated by the circumstances. Yeah.
I just thought about the phenomenon of like needing to correct someone.
Yeah.
I think in like in a certain sense it insults the bystanders because it basically implies that people are only going to be able to figure out exactly what was like stated, and like what the stated conclusion of the conversation is.
Mhm.
So if one person says, like you're awful at something, and then I don't respond to it, we're like, oh, this guy's awful at something.
Yeah. Right.
And like the people are not able to like divorce what is being said from like the fact that it's like the person thing.
So that's a really interesting thing because that latent belief that if I don't say something, then what this person said, this negative thing the person said about me, that is the reality. So there's something in common between that. Maybe this is just obvious. Maybe I'm just saying redundant thing. There's something in common between that and like the move of needing to defend your honor, because both of them are operating in this relative value system where what people say is the reality, or what people think is the reality, you know? And like, if I don't correct, like this guy put out a thought about me into other people's minds, and if I don't correct that, that will be the reality, you know?
Yeah.
And the irony, side going.
Yeah.
What are you doing when you I mean, this is I don't know if this is what Sadigon is saying, but like you are sinking yourself
Right.
deeper into that source of the
When
conflict.
you make people think that more about you.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right. If
Yeah.
it wasn't true, then why are you getting so defensive? Like, why do you have
Right.
like,
So
you know it's not true?
I think on two levels. One is what you're saying is like the fact that you're getting so worked up about it, you know, shows certain things about you. But then there's I heard, let me see who this is. I'm in the middle of. Sometimes I would just let the Ferriss podcast go, and I don't even know who's George.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again. Put down notes. Waiting for it to scroll. Here we go. Oh, Greg I wouldn't know how to say McEwen, McKeown. So he told one of them. Oh, yeah, he told this parable about this guy who, like early on, I think like got accused in his town of like stealing something, you know, and it was a completely baseless charge, but like people bought into it, and then he got so caught up in like trying to refute it and getting caught up in the fact that like I can't believe that people like still think I'm dishonest because of the thing, that basically what happened was his making an issue out of thing outlived whatever natural like it would have naturally faded away, but because he's entrenching himself in it and making it into an issue, then it actually prolongs the life of the thing, you know. And so that could be another way of ensnaring himself in it. Like I armchair defined the Mitsuda, like he'll ensnare himself in it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the point I was just saying about like the getting defensive is that can be another useful way of seeing like exposed, meaning like it's not just exposing him as a fool, but it's exposing like the thing he needs to get defensive about.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so that's really an issue for him.
Yeah, right. Noted. Yeah. Yeah. Also gives ammo to the person who's trying to start a fight with you, right? I mean, like that's just it's just in your own interest. Like whatever framework you're in, you don't want to give more ammo to that guy. Like, oh, I see how to push his buttons now. You know? Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like we figured it out. Let's just try to state it succinctly. Yeah.
I was gonna have another aspect.
It's almost too easy though. That doesn't make me unnerved. You know. Yeah.
The thing I was saying was that the this might tie into what we said about the veal being ego-driven.
Yeah.
That the veal is putting like the onlookers down in his mind. He's saying they're not going to be able to figure out what's going on.
They're not going to be able to figure out what's going on.
I mean, you're not going to be able to figure, like, they're not going to be able to, you know.
I mean, he's underestimating their judgment skills.
Yeah.
By what?
By saying they're not going. If I don't.
Oh right. If I don't say it, yeah, right.
Then they're just gonna believe whatever they're told.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's is an exaggerated sense of his own importance and their and their relative lack of ability. Yeah.
And so why does it say Ish and Cole?
Good question. So the couple of the Ish, I think, is it does fit in with what we were saying, is that it is a man's honor to abstain from quarrel. Really means to be able to like maintain. Man's honor is to be able to maintain whatever honor you actually have in the sense of like whatever your actual good qualities are without getting drawn into like the social realm of values, you know, where people are where you're measuring your own self-worth or your own values based on what other people think of you, you know. And Kol Evil Yiskala, and it is, yeah, I don't know exactly what to make of the Avil thing, but it sounds like the way we're taking Avil is the Avil is someone who is in this, you know, world where like where ego is the main thing, where he needs to feel like he's the one dictating his reality to other people.
Right, and his mistake is that he thinks that his kavod is that which he can defend, as opposed to his kavod is just his kavod, and like by not defending it, that's preserving it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the element of free will extends here too, meaning like just like you're preserving your choice about like defending, like you're not forced into every argument someone tries to have with you, but the fool is.
Yeah.
And that's what every is. Like he's sacrificing that will, that honor that he's
right.
trying to
by trying to preserve it, he's actually
yeah.
He's like falling into this like willless.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at Mafarshim now that we have.
There is one question we can just maybe keep our eye out
sure.
while we're reading the Mafarshim. Is just the last question lingering in my mind at this moment is just the there's no like counter for honor, and I feel like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the counter word for that was the exposure, but even though it doesn't say it in those words.
But isn't that the rest are abstain, then not have, meaning like something's not having a full counter. Yeah, I was taking the rest or abstain as to revealed, exposed, sunken into counter.
Yeah.
But like if you want to move that to honor, then like
I hear it, yeah.
Something's left over.
Yeah, I hear. If we find one, then good. Otherwise, I'm not super bothered by it.
I'm not super bothered either. I just feel like we might get another addition.
I hear. All right, so we'll keep an eye out for it. Yeah. Just 1 second. Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't seem like this is always the case. Like it sometimes seems like it is true that sometimes if you're slighted against and you don't sort of like stand for yourself, then it sort of gets worse and people do think it's
that's true. And it does not say always for the first half, right? But it is definitely
will fall into
the with the fool, it always will be it'll be exposing this part of him, the fact that he is like triggered by what people are saying, you know.
Right, but I guess it's not always that when you defend yourself, you're going to be entrenched in it. Whatever. If you could, sometimes defending yourself is necessary to get yourself out of the situation.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So
yeah.
Well, I guess then the question is like, so in which cases is it?
Yeah. I have an answer, but
I just was wondering if maybe there's like that's part of the reason why it says man instead of like chacham, or like. I mean, like I know there's certain laws about like a Talmud Chacham having to defend like his honor more for the sake that he carries God's knowledge or whatever, you know. So I wonder if that plays into like his choice of wording.
Could be, yeah.
I just haven't thought about another aspect.
So not answer.
No, sorry.
So let me just the answer I was thinking of is, hold on, I had a formula. Kol Evil Yiskala. So could you read it that every Evil in a situation like this will be exposed? meaning not that defending yourself will always result in an Avil-like exposure.
Right.
But if you are an Avil and you succumb to like jumping into the quarrel, then that aspect of you will be exposed, and that's a guarantee.
If you're doing it like because you're triggered.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a guarantee, like you're guaranteed to lose your honor,
Yeah.
or like to have your this insecurity revealed.
Yeah. Maybe it's not like every conflict is going to make you come across as an Avil.
Right.
But if you're jumping into conflicts because you're an Avil, then people will that will be obvious.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you have that part of you on auto response.
Yeah.
And it's like they said that. Oh, really?
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's Twitter account was really the perfect example of this. Like yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing I was gonna say helped explain why it's cold, which is that I think and the Avil will not only jump into conflicts where there is conflict, but he'll think that the people are calling with him when they aren't.
Yeah.
And so then he'll just be like, oh, like this guy's just being like an Avil.
Yeah.
Like if someone makes like a gives it like a minor correction, then if you then an Avil will might see oh, you're trying to show you're better than me or correct me, or something when there really isn't a conflict there.
Yeah.
And then it's just the other guy's not going to engage because there wasn't a conflict. And then it's like, oh, this guy's just being Avil.
Yeah. Yep. I saw that recently. Yeah.
Please clarify. You might have done it last night, but what is an Avil?
That's actually the one that we didn't go into last night. Yeah, we did emphasize the fact that he seems to be at his foundation driven by ego, whereas the seal is at his foundation driven by pleasure.
Okay.
But we didn't delve into his definition. The definition. Yeah. Exactly.
Is it worth pointing out an alternative read that kind of fits into the same framework but a different crux? So I a long time ago once took like a TV writing course, like it was just like a couple of classes in the summer. And basically the idea in television is that you want like every episode to revolve around a conflict and like every scene to revolve around a conflict. And even if you can have like every dialogue and every the more conflicts you can drive into the writing, the more it's going to appeal to viewers. Yeah. And I feel like that's actually how some people live their lives, meaning like their lives are about getting into conflict because that's what is entertaining. Right. And so I honestly thought about this as like you guys were describing the stories. It's like, what is this motivation? And I don't know that. I feel like one approach is like the honor ego aspect, and another is just like this is what life is for them. Like it's the entertainment, the back and forth. It's like they always want to get into it because like that's the juice of life. That's like I guess
the form of it that I'm most familiar with is in an all-girls high school. There are certain girls who just like live off of drama, even the one that they themselves even the drama that they themselves cause. And like if things are going well, like they need to, I mean, you can see why the Avil needs that, because they need to have that conquest and validation of the feeling of the superiority that either that they get by judging the people who are in the drama or by creating the drama and then attempting to win, like it's just it's like it really is a
then I feel like the rest of our points we made can still fit, but like
I actually missed how you're reading it now, so I got the idea, but how does this change the reading?
So like we could look at honor a little bit as again free will, and like that's the idea of man is like they're making like decisions for themselves. And so this person is abstaining from conflict because that conflict is like forcing you into certain ways of thinking and like reacting and like a reactionary life. And so like he's abstaining from this to like preserve his honor as a man. Whereas a fool is getting sunken into this idea of conflict because that's what he's living for. And he's like sacrificing this idea of man.
All right, that's good. I actually want to read first thing. You don't have this commentary,
I just want to expand a little bit about the whole. Sure. What I was saying. I think any person who, if a person is going to create conflicts where there aren't really any, then like the person might not be exposed in a deal every instance of conflict, but because there'll be a lot of times this happens, eventually, like every person who's in the deal in this area is gonna become
right. And that's going to actually make it more difficult for him to get out of it, because since he wins from time to time, he's not going to realize that this trend is making him into a loser, in the sense of being in a deal, a known deal, an explosive deal. I just want to read Sadigon's commentary, which you don't have there, because he's the one who said the sunken in thing. Just see what he says. I haven't read it yet. Is that shtika? Hashtika? L'chol shnei yarivim shelo yarivu. Okay, so he says the person who is quarreling with you either is beneath you, equal to you, or above you. In terms of what? In terms of winning, I guess. Okay. Or I guess, or I don't know. Let's see where he's going. So if he's above you, you should admit to him in terms of his merits.
I guess like validation of
the validity in the argument. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And if he is beneath you, do not be brazen against him. I think it's brazen, there's a footnote. Footnote says it's possible, it says don't be wicked against him. I don't know what this is. And if he's on par with you, then do kindness with him. If people would use this principle, then no one will get into fights. True. All of these fights are in matters that are not monetary, but have to do with authority or like a dominance. Okay, I feel like we should think about that for 1 second. Well, let's get out of there what we can.
I think that was limiting the pasuk to being about public, because because if it's about money, then the person's not going to want to see, like let's say like the people who are on par, for example. Like you're not going to get convinced. Like it's much more of a thing to be like giving up money to someone who has an equal claim,
right?
As opposed to giving up an argument to someone.
Also, it's like a different framework. Like then you're involved in justice and ownership and stuff like that, and like you do have a claim on it, but this is just all in imaginary values. What makes them imaginary? I think because it's a relative value system where you're just comparing yourself to other people. Like,
well, isn't it so true that like even if it's relative, it'd still be true?
I mean, I guess
one person can still be above another one, and that's relative, but you can still be above or below another person.
That's not what I mean by relative. I mean where you're defining the value based on like on people's opinion.
Yeah, it's not like based on like tangible goods.
I mean, that's not.
It's like a different,
like
psychological reality. It's real. It's just not.
There's no objectivity to it. Like let's say like wealth or beauty or popularity. Like all these things are like, like you can view yourself as like as attractive or rich, and then like but that's in comparison to these people who are beneath you. But then you find someone who's like a millionaire and is like more attractive, and then you suddenly feel like you're less.
So it's just depending on who you're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's no objectivity in that sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's just quickly in the last 5 minutes look at some other mafarshim here. Let's start off with Metzudas David because he'll be the most minimalistic. I haven't read him yet. Metzudas David at the bottom right. Kavod habatala min hamariva hu kavod leish. So abstaining from quarrel is honor to a man. V'chol evil yisgalea be'es hamariva. And every fool will be exposed at the time of the quarrel. Ki kasher yarbe amarim. The more he talks, yigula ibalta lakol. His foolishness will be evident to everyone. Right, that fits into what we were saying. I don't know what specific idea he's getting into it, but basically like he's just exposing himself more through his speech. That's what he's emphasizing. All right, let's do the Meiri. Okay, because see what happens. Right above him on the right. This is also talking about perfection of midos. It's first mentioning one of the biggest ones. This is refraining from disagreements. But alzeh amar kabel ish sheves miriv. Umilas lo ish halamed kamutza. So it says la ish. I was wondering about that also, but I didn't know enough about grammar to know if it was weird. La ish, right? For the man, I guess. Is that how you read it? Covered for the man. Klomar la ish hayadua v'hu nechbad. So yeah, he's learning it like for the person who is known and who is distinguished.
If you're already have covered?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. And that fits into the juxtaposition with the king.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the shevet, so it's not talking about every man, it's talking about a distinguished person. The shevet who shem meaning menucha. So shevet means rest. Miloshin tishbeshu shabbatchem, tishbeshu shabbatchem. V'amar, so it means to rest, not to abstain. Shekavod hu lenechbad she yishbots meiriv. It is an honorable thing for the honorable person to rest from conflict. Because disputation is a degradation for every person. And it is an honor for those who refrain from it. I don't know where he's going yet. If the person who he's against is greater than him, so then you should abstain because of that guy's virtue, or that guy's stature, I mean. If he's less than you, then you should refrain based on your own kavod, right? Because you don't want to drag yourself down to his level by disputing with him. Who erko, and if he's equal to you, then it's better for you to hold on to the advantage that you have over your friend or your friend over you. I don't know what this is saying. It's impossible for two kings to share a crown. Is town big enough for the both of us? So what is he saying you're supposed to do then? Well, I randomly read this in that book yesterday, the Mivchar Pninim. The Mivchar Pninim is a book of Proverbs. It's a book of other Proverbs from like Jewish and Arabic Chachamim. And I didn't know what it meant there either. He's gadel, he's gadel. Glorifying, I don't know what this means. Aggrandizing yourself over the one who aggrandizes himself is humility. The El Hagdolim, and over people who are great, sakana is danger. The Al Beinonim, and on middle people, chisus the hanefesh. I'm not getting any of this.
I mean, but it seems like he's referencing the same thing as in the citizens. No, the person.
Tzadion, yeah, he is, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just don't know what his, I'm not getting his framework here.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at Rabbeinu Yonah. Rabbeinu on the left. Gimel. Kaval ish shevet miriv. Kacher shnei anashim nitim. When two people are fighting, hamakdim mehem lahachrish ulihimaneh min ariv hu anechbad. The first one to silence himself and to refrain from fighting, he is the honorable one. Oh, this actually makes it into a race, right? So if you really want the kavod, you have to be the first to abstain. That's an interesting way to frame it psychologically, you know? Because the thing is, it's taking that motion of like, I gotta win, and saying how you harness it of like, okay, you want to win? Shut up. Like, you know, V'amruzal ki be'eret Yisrael bir'osam shnei anashim nitim.
Also, just even more than that, it's also saying that you can, like, don't think that once you've gotten into the quarrel, it's too late. Like
yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. That's a good point. Point. Right. Even if you're already, you can still be the bigger man, right? As they say, the bigger ish. Yeah, the more kavod neflat ish. Yeah. V'amru zal keep eretz Yisrael b'rosim shnei anashim nitim umakim echad mehem lahachrish v'yoshem min ariv hayu omrim alav kihu hamiyuchas. I don't know what this means here, but I'll say that in Eretz Yisrael, I guess I don't know. I mean, it says in Eretz Yisrael when two people are fighting and one of them is the first one to be silent and abstain from quarrel, then they'll say about him that he's the miyuchas. He's the one. I don't know if it means miyuchat like family-wise, that he had like good yichus, like a good lineage. I don't know what that means. Every fool, his midos will be exposed and recognized at the time of his quarrel. And Chazal say, the one you quoted last week, Zach. The kosa of the kisa of the kaso. With three things, the person is discernible: with his cup, meaning his drinking; the kiso, his wallet; ubakaso, and with his anger. You want to guess where Rabbeinu Yonah goes next? Nope. Well, which all what?
Oh, this one, the previous.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, right. Gam ze nismach inyan leit hayayin homeshechar inyan shikazu midyanim lemisia. So he's connecting to the wine lates because the wine lates is also known for getting into quarrels. Yeah.
And then the king is.
The king seems to be coveting, but it's funny he doesn't make that connection.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, but I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's stop here for today. All right. Good idea.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.